Hey, what's going on, YouTube crazies? This is HeapCVA. As you can hear in the background, I am playing another um, round of 911 First Responder. I'm in the Los Angeles mod, and man, things are rocking right at the very start of the game. That's pretty cool because usually you're sitting there waiting a little bit. Nice to see something kick you right up out of bed right away. Appreciate that. So while I'm talking, you're gonna hear me getting everybody rolling. The LA mod is one of the older mods around. I still like playing it. It's the one that taught me how to play the game, really. Um, I know a lot has changed in real life as far as how LA City covers with EMS and fire and everything else, but I still like coming back to this game because it reminds me of how I learned and about the game and why I really liked it and kept doing stuff with it for so long. So got a person down on the sidewalk there, got both ambulances rolling because he's in this particular game, the white-topped ambulances do not have paramedics. You could cheat and put a paramedic on there, but I'm not doing that, not in this particular round. What I'm doing this go around while the paramedic is checking the patient out, I just set the timer for 25 minutes. And it's a little long, but you got to give yourself at least a little bit of time to get a few calls in. And I've had less time go by in these games, in this mod and other mods, and been bored out of my mind or so busy I had to walk away from the computer because it just drove me crazy. So I was dying to see what we could get going in 25 minutes, and I actually stopped the game at just a little bit after that so that at least the video ends with some sense of normalcy. But let's see how we do. I'm not gonna edit anything. I'm not gonna stop and clip it and come back at another point. This is 25 minutes from 0 to 25. What kind of calls we can get, where they're going to come from in this particular mod. Are they going to all be running out of the the headquarters station, or is there going to be calls going out of station 2? Is it going to be a good mix? Is station 1 going to get hammered and station 2 is going to be able to take a nap at lunchtime? You just never know. So we're going to stand by just like they do in real life and see if the alarm goes off to respond. The only things I've done in the game to kind of move things along and make sense, quite honestly, is open the door and excuse me, make sure that the personnel on the apparatus do not leave the engine, so that we don't have to reel them in every time the alarm goes off. I've got 2 police motorcycles out, and that's going to be my law enforcement. And we're going to sit here and twiddle our thumbs apparently, because that was just the carrot dangled out there to have that call come right in the beginning of the game. Doesn't sound like much coming on afterwards. We're already, what? Whoops, never mind, hang on. All right, EMS, kind of like real life, especially in LA City. You wouldn't if you haven't been there in a long time, you'd be amazed at the amount of ambulances they have in service at any given time. They run a lot of EMS, and just like in this game, they determine what ambulances respond based on the patient's severity. So you didn't see me do it, but as I'm dispatching the ambulances, I'm looking at whether they're what I'd call basic EMS or their paramedic level EMS calls, and trying to play it as real as I can, considering it's a game. So this just happens to be in Station 1's area anyway, so it's the only ambulance we're going to see. So obviously this patient wasn't too bad off, so we checked her out real good. Maybe they started an IV. They're going to load her up and they're going to hop, skip, and jump over to the hospital. So not too bad. What we got? We're at 2 calls so far. We're almost 6 minutes into it. It's like I said, this is much like real life where you can go hours without a call and then run your brains out for the next 10 hours or have a slow day, which is rarer now than it was when I started. You just never know. That's the best part of being a firefighter, is coming to work never knowing what you're going to come up against. I mean, some people like that. I did. Some people like stuff normal and the same thing every day. It takes all kinds to make it work. So here we are again. My goal is to stare at Station 1 in between calls, so I can make sure I count each run so I don't miss one at the end, and say that we had 6 calls and we had 7 and vice versa. It's no big deal there. Like to see the engines and the trucks go out the barn, but you know, like you said, it's flip of the coin whether you're doing firework or EMS in this particular mod. So here we sit, and I'm trying not to make a lot of noise by twiddling my finger or tipping my fingers on the tabletop, waiting for a call. There's our EMS ambulance back. I did like this particular mod, and it's one of the few that had vehicles move up as other vehicles went on calls and rotate. Didn't see that a lot in a lot of the other mods. The guy that put this together, whose name on the forums was Hopper, or Hoppa, Hoppah, I think, did an awesome job. He's still around here and there. He's the guy that, near as I can tell him from what I've read, started it all with some of the good USA mods. So, all right, we're responding again. Looks like a vehicle fire, so at least one fire agent's going to get some work today. So try to get organized and get ahead of myself here. We've got law enforcement running around keeping tabs on us for traffic control. I got a tow truck started, and we're just waiting on engine 2 to knock this fire down and make it so the guy can haul it away. So there he is. Might be a little close. I don't think I told him to go there, but you never know. And so the Los Angeles mod made good use of where I work, we called the deck gun, or the monitor nozzle, which is a big diameter appliance on top of the rig. The places I worked, it was permanently mounted. You had to really work at it to take it off. It was made for big fires. It works good for putting pretty much everything out in this game, and quite honestly, in real life, I've used it a few times because it's easier than pulling a stretch of or a section of line to maybe hit a dumpster fire or something like that, when you can just dump big water down on it real fast and knock it out and make sure it doesn't rekindle half an hour later. So this fire went out pretty quick. Can't tell you why the traffic's all backed up like that. Maybe they're afraid. PD's already leaving the scene, so I don't know what their issue is. Hopefully they get moving soon, because the traffic backup can make things a little more difficult. So here we are again at headquarters. See how we're doing. We're to 10 minutes. We're not doing too bad. We're almost at a call every minute and some change. That could be real life in certain jurisdictions. I won't say which ones. A lot changes over time, so I'm just hoping that my little fire department here on the computer stays just as busy. So I wish there was a lot to say in between, but really there's not. This is the boring part in between calls, whether in the game or in real life. So keep your fingers crossed something gets going here pretty quick. I would hate to say that our 25 minutes of time that I allotted was a waste. There we go. Another bell ringing for EMS. And we'll get that going. I've tried dividing this map both ways, north and south and east and west. I still haven't come up with a absolute decision of all the times I've ever played it. Sometimes it's north to south and I split the city that way, and the other times I split it north to south, and Station 2 will take all the bottom part of the map and the headquarters station will do all the top. I think I split it east to west this time, but like I said, I'm running it as the way the rigs are actually staffed in this game. So, you know, unless it comes in as a BLS call, it's gonna get medic unit and BLS ambulance.
Yes.
So keeping my police officers busy with keeping the traffic under control. This game was the first time I'd really seen that really work really well and keep vehicles from blocking up in incident scenes. It was a lot of fun. Like I said, I learned a ton off of this one mod all by itself. And a lot of people that made mods for this game can point at this particular mod as either the first one they saw that got them started in that, or one of the ones that influences the decisions that they made. So another quick call and a quick transport. What are we at? 5 now, I think. So we're sneaking up on, I actually just hit 13 minutes. So let's slide back to headquarters. So we're short an ambulance because they're on the way to the hospital. Waiting for the bell to ring again with our fingers crossed. Love to hear the words fire somewhere, just because that's my nature. That's what makes this game fun. And I like this kind of challenge. It's just enough time to get yourself in a lot of trouble or have a lot of fun with this game, depending on the mod. There are a couple mods out there that have a lot of fire stations for the size of the map. And so you're moving around a lot. Sometimes the ones that only have single or double house fire departments make it more or less interesting. Depends on how I feel that day, basically. So hopefully we get more than the number of calls we had, which is still not bad, but I'd like to keep us busy the whole 25 minutes. That's what I'm trying to do here. I don't like the quiet. I know it's only a minute in between, but you know, I think the last video I put up had overlapping calls, so quite a difference. All right, I heard the fire word, and we're in 2's jurisdiction or area. There's a fire going on, little smoke showing. That's always good. This is a tough little area in 2's area because of all these, we would call them alleyways. I don't know what you call them where you're at. Kind of like side streets. No, that's not where I told you to go, Mr. Fire Engine. Alright, okay. I guess we weren't on the same page. No big deal. I tell you what, that monitor on the top of that fire engine makes it some days like you don't ever have to pull a single length of hose out. That must have been the driver running away from me as I was trying to tell him that I wanted him to go this way instead of that way, as if I was some kind of chief or something. Easy fire, easy out, still counts in our column. I think that is number 5. Not 100% sure though. I marked him down, but we'll have to wait for the next incident and I'll be able to tell you for sure. It's funny to look at the Los Angeles mods and see the apparatus and how much the appearance has changed over time, and the models that they use in the game got more sophisticated and better looking. Not that these are terrible, but I mean some of the work that was done by the guys that created the models for some of the mods was amazing work. It still is. It's just too bad that with the new game that this company put out, I think was Emergency 5, it just didn't catch on with the mod guys because it must be more difficult to do. I've heard other people say that they did things to the game to kind of kill that side of it, and you know, it's pretty easy to find games now on Steam or any place where they encourage mods to expand the game out. To me, it's a good thing. So that's why this game is still being played, even as old as it is. It's because the mods keep it going when the initial game has kind of died off or people have played it too much. So, you know, it's just like that other game that I'm playing, that they're looking for information and recommendations from regular players. That is basically like the precursor for mods to improve the game even before it's really completely out. Whoop, here we go again. All right, looks like today's going to be an EMS day for us. That's 6 calls right there, near as I can tell. It moved pretty quick. But we'll get everybody on the road. Keep them from running over each other. That would be a good thing. Get police going too to block the road. That's a busy street, and I don't want them to clip my EMS folks. I've never seen that really happen in a game, but it's always on my mind anyway. So here the ambulance is approaching. Who made it first? BLS showed up first. There's our patient on the sidewalk. I don't know where it's like where you live, but when both units show up at the same time, the paramedic's in charge of the patient and the scene, so to speak. Give or take a few things, but in my jurisdiction, the medic would be telling us what to do. And I try to run it like that in this game for what level of reality I can get out of it. You know, I know it's a game, but sometimes I want to make it look more realistic, and the game just laughs at me. So, patient's not in too bad a shape, but looks like EMS is going to go ahead and take the patient and send BLS back home. And so we're about ready to load and go. That didn't take too long. It actually doesn't take too long in this game, fortunately. And we'll get him back to patrol. And we're at the 20-minute mark. And we've got time for a couple more calls. Keeping my fingers crossed that we end in a high note. That would be pretty neat on my account. Once a hose jockey, always a hose jockey. If you know that terminology. So they've been equally spaced call-wise. No overlapping calls at all this go around. And it's not unusual for LA or Los Angeles, whichever way you want to say it, to have a lot of overlapping calls. But not today. So keep your fingers crossed.
Medical emergency. Report of a circulatory collapse. Treat and take the victim away.
I'm not disappointed. It's still an incident. So that's 7 runs. Excuse me. It's been a huge change in temperature where I live, and we're well over 100 degrees today. And man, could I not drink enough water. I should be floating off the ground. I drank so much water today just to keep hydrated, and I still felt like I was dehydrated. So we're in for a couple of 100+ degree days. I know it's summer, and you can't wait for summer until summer gets here, and then you can't wait for winter. So figure that one out. All right, obviously we're on the border again. Got EMS and BLS showing up. And obviously this patient is more serious than BLS is going to deal with. Have no idea where he came from. We'll just go ahead and send him right back home. We did not need him. I must have accidentally scooped on both of them over at that fire station. And it made the motor officer have to park somewhere else. Maybe the other guy heard traffic accident and self-dispatched.
Yes.
I bet you that's never happened in real life. More than 1,000,000 times. And I've never been guilty of that either. More than 1,000,000 times. So looks like we're just going to wind down, sadly, on a sick person note, which I don't want anybody to go on any calls that sees, ill people. But looks like this particular day's worth of incidents is going to be mostly on the emergency medical services side. And we'll have to try again later with another timer game to see if we can turn the tables on that the next time we do it.
Yes.
So, well, maybe that patient wasn't as serious as I thought, or they decided to go available and let BLS take them anyway. Unfortunately, the hospital's never far away in this game, so if you get a 1/4 inch of red line on the side of the patient, you can make it to the hospital and the patient will still be in good shape. So it is at 24:27 right now, and we are gonna spiral into darkness. And we did hear fire calls, but they were small and easy to take care of. Well, I'd like to tell you that we're going to go look at that, but we just hit 25, and so we're done. I'm going to close this bad boy out. Thanks for coming by. If you liked it, please click the like button. Subscribe too. Love to see you more often. And we'll put up another video again soon. Talk to you later. Heaps checking out.